Hey everyone, welcome to the channel and another review. I just got back from seeing Death on the Nile at the theater, so let's talk about it. Death on the Nile is a movie about Hercule Poirot as he goes on vacation in Egypt, but then uncovers a murder that he must solve. So this movie, that's pretty much all to give for the synopsis. As it's a mystery, can't really go into too much detail there. But kind of some background going into the movie for me as far as my anticipation level went was like I was very much so looking forward to this movie. It's been, I think its initial release was supposed to be back in December of 2019, but then it got delayed and delayed and delayed, but we finally got it this weekend. It's been one that I've been looking forward to. I really enjoyed Murder on the Orient Express. I thought that was a very, well-crafted movie. And so I was interested to see what Kenneth Branagh did for the second installment of this version of Poirot. And with that, we will get into, what I thought about it. So we'll start with what I enjoyed. And first up, what comes to mind is the cinematography for this movie. And I thought it's, very, very good across the board. It starts off with a long take, and there are several long takes throughout the entire film. And I really appreciate that in any movie. I think it just speaks more to the acting if it's not, cut and edited back and forth. That's fine. It's not to say the actors aren't doing a good job, but when you can actually see a full take and you know that they're not using multiple takes and the actor's actually doing that in one go, I think it's a lot more impressive. But also just to, I don't know, I think it gets you into the movie a lot more, and especially for dramas, it's, over editing, I think it would take you out of it. So I thought that was very good, and also the sets and locations. I couldn't tell you for sure. I assume they were on location for part of this, but if they weren't, they did a very good job of building the sets. But it was a very nice looking movie for where it took place. Maybe not as quite as much as, say, Murder on the Orient Express. I kind of prefer the snow atmosphere rather than the river and the desert on the Nile. But it was still very gorgeous all the same, and the cinematography really captured that. All right, the next thing that shines with this movie, kind of like with any of the recent, big mystery movies that we've had, whether it's, the previous Murder on the Orient Express or Knives Out, is the star-studded cast. And so for this one, I think top of the list, rightfully so, is Kenneth Branagh. I think he does as far as all the acting went, I thought it was good overall, but he really stood out as far as, you know, acting his character. I think maybe the story demanded a little bit more of him, but he really plays this character well and owns it. So it was great to see him back in this role. Other characters, I'm not going to go through the whole list of characters. I'm just going to speak to the ones that I'm familiar with as actors or actresses, and ones I was looking forward to see in this movie, or at least ones that I recognize. So there again, I've enjoyed seeing Gal Gadot in all of the movies she's been in recently, at least that I've seen. I first saw her in Batman v Superman as Wonder Woman, and then I've seen her in the Fast and Furious movies, and kind of most recently it was Red Notice. But I don't think there's a movie I've seen that I didn't enjoy of hers. So I thought she was good in the role here and played the part well. Another actor that I was interested to see in this movie was Russell Brand. I recognize him, but I don't think I've seen him in a serious role. So that was interesting to see here, and I thought he did a good job. Yeah, I enjoy a movie when I recognize some of the actors. So, and maybe moving forward, the ones that I haven't mentioned here that were in this movie, maybe I'll recognize them and enjoy seeing them in the next movie. But yeah, overall, I thought the acting was good, but Kenneth Branagh I thought was the standout in my opinion. I thought the mystery was good overall. I wouldn't say it was great. Looking back, they left clues where I'm like, oh, I could have maybe picked up on that, but at the end of the day, I still didn't figure it out. So I thought it was right balance of being tough enough, but giving you that feeling like, oh, maybe I could have solved it, or I should have been able to piece that together. So I thought for that reason I think it's good, but it didn't hit me as being overly great. But yeah, in addition to just figuring out who the murderer is, I thought the mystery is also good about not even knowing who the victim was going to be, and I thought the trailers did a good job of not spoiling that. I actually think my guess of who the victim was going to be was different than it actually was. And yeah, so it's always fun if the trailers aren't spoiling stuff for like that when you're going into a mystery. And then last thing that I liked was the movie starts off with a flashback of Poirot as a younger man, and I thought that just added a bit more to his character and was nice to see. So I appreciated that, and yeah, the whole movie I thought like it set up the whole movie to make you feel like you got to know Poirot a bit better as a person and not just see him as this detective on the job. So overall, I thought there's a lot of good here, a lot of things that I liked. There's just a couple negatives that I had or things that I was kind of mixed on. The first being the music. While I thought it fit with the film, I just personally didn't enjoy the music all that much, at least not in the film itself. I'll go back and listen to the soundtrack and see if it plays differently on its own. But especially compared to Murder on the Orient Express, I really liked the soundtrack for that one. So I was hopeful that I'd like this one as much, but at this point, it did kind of let me down. But again, I think it's more that it wasn't really the style of music that I personally enjoy all that much. It wasn't say that it was bad music. And then the only other thing that I could point out as being a bad, or a kind of, yeah, on the bad side of things is I think it was mainly early on. There's a few shots that looked just kind of green screeny. I don't know if it's just that's how they were edited, or, that's how the lighting was done in post, or if they were maybe reshoots and they weren't able to go back to location or the sets that they were filmed on. But yeah, just a couple early shots, especially with the pyramids, that it looked very green screeny, so that kind of took me out of it. But surprisingly, though, those were very few. For the most part, I was believably in Egypt, at least as far as I could tell, having never been to Egypt myself. So yeah, so that's very few things on the bad list. I think when you got a movie directed by Kenneth Branagh, I mean, he's nominated for Best Director from last year for Belfast. You're not going to get too many negatives in a movie. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed this movie. Maybe not quite as much as Murder on the Orient Express or say something like Knives Out, but it was still a good film and an enjoyable time. So it's one that I'd recommend and I'd place in the good category of movies. If you've been able to see Death on the Nile, be sure to share your thoughts on it in the comments below. Let me know, did you like it? Did you figure out the murder before it was revealed? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. That does it for this review. If you've enjoyed it, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next review. All right, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.